The night I disappeared, no one in my family noticed. Not my son, not my daughter-in-law, not even the grandchildren I helped raise. But when the police knocked on their door asking about me, that was the moment they finally realized what they had lost. My name is Pearl, or Annie Pearl as everyone calls me. I'm 71 years old, and until recently, I believed my family loved me, or at least, that they respected me enough to treat me like a human being. But I was wrong, very wrong. I live with my son, Daniel, and his wife, Monica. When they got married 8 years ago, I welcomed Monica with open arms. I gave her my jewelry, my mother's old prayer blanket, and even helped them buy their first home with my savings. In the beginning, things were wonderful. Monica used to call me Mom. She'd hug me every morning, and we'd share stories over tea. But slowly, so slowly you could almost miss it, she changed. It started with small, dismissive comments. Pearl, you always forget things. You move too slowly. You ask too many questions. At first, I brushed them off. Old age, I thought. Maybe she's right. But the comments grew sharper, heavier. You're becoming a burden, and the one that truly stung. Maybe it's time you move to a nursing home. What hurt the most, though, wasn't just her words, but Daniel's silence. One day, I overheard her telling him, Daniel, you're wasting money taking care of your mother. She's not sick, just old. I waited for him to defend me, to say something, anything. But he just sighed, rubbed his forehead, and whispered, let's not talk about this now. His silence was louder than her insults. It felt like a betrayal. That evening, the feeling of being invisible became a reality. Monica served dinner to everyone, Daniel, the kids, herself, but she skipped me. My place at the table was empty. When I asked if I should get my own plate, her response was cold. Oh, I thought you already ate. Older people eat early, right? My sweet grandchildren sat there, shifting uncomfortably in their seats. I could see the conflict in their eyes. They loved me. I knew that. But children can't fight the adults they depend on. I wanted to cry, to scream, to ask what I had done to deserve this, but I held myself together. I just nodded and went to my room, my stomach empty but my heart heavier. One night, as I was walking past the living room, I heard Monica on the phone. Her voice was sharp, filled with a frustration I had come to know all too well. No, we can't travel, she said. Not unless Pearl leaves. I refuse to spend thousands on a vacation while an old woman sits in my house doing nothing. Her words felt like daggers, each one piercing a little deeper. When Daniel came home that night, she confronted him immediately. Your mother just sits all day, she complained. She doesn't earn. She doesn't help. She doesn't do anything. Hiding in the shadows of the hallway, I couldn't stay silent any longer. My voice was a mere whisper, but it cut through their argument. I'm sorry you feel that way. Monica jumped, startled, her face flushing with a mixture of shock and anger. Daniel looked utterly embarrassed, unable to meet my eyes, but neither of them apologized. There was just a thick, suffocating silence. I went to bed that night feeling like a stranger, an unwelcome guest in the very home I had helped build. The final straw came the next morning. I woke up early, my heart already heavy, and I overheard them talking in the kitchen. It was Monica's voice, low and conspiratorial. Listen, she said to Daniel, I found a nursing home. It's a good one. Let's just send her there for a year. We'll tell her it's temporary, just until she feels better. I held my breath, waiting, praying for Daniel to refuse. But all I heard was a long, weary sigh, followed by the words that shattered what was left of my heart. Maybe you're right. That was it. That was the moment something inside me broke. I had given them everything. My savings, my love, my years, my life. I'd cooked, cleaned, and babysat. I'd poured every ounce of myself into this family. And in return, they were ready to throw me away like a piece of old furniture. That was my value to them. The next day, before the sun even rose, I made my decision. I packed a small bag, just a few changes of clothes, my heart medication, and a faded photograph of my late husband, his smiling face a reminder of a time I felt truly cherished. I walked through the quiet house one last time, whispering goodbye to the walls that held so many memories, both good and bad. Then, I opened the front door, and I left. I didn't have a plan. I just knew I couldn't stay. I didn't go far. I walked to a small church shelter on the other side of town, a place where my old friend, Sister Eleanor, worked. She welcomed me with a warm hug and no questions, just a cup of hot tea and a clean bed. She understood. Back at the house, my absence went unnoticed. When my family woke up, they went about their day. Not after 1 hour, not after 5 hours, not even at the end of the day when the dinner table had one less person, did they realize I was gone. It was as if I had truly become invisible. But the next morning, something unexpected happened. A kind soul saw me walking near the bus station, looking a bit disoriented, and they called the police, concerned for my well-being. Soon after, 2 officers knocked on Daniel's door. "Sir," one of them asked, "we have reports that your elderly mother has been seen wandering alone. Do you know where she is?" That was the moment everything changed. Monica froze, her hand flying to her mouth. Daniel's face turned pale. It was only then, prompted by strangers, that they realized I wasn't in my room. I wasn't in the house. Only then did my absence finally matter. A frantic search began. They called my friends, the neighbors, the hospitals. The panic in Daniel's voice when he finally reached Sister Eleanor was real. They found me at the church shelter. Daniel ran toward me, his face etched with fear and regret, tears streaming down his cheeks. "Mom," he choked out. I was so scared. "I thought something happened to you." I just looked at him, my silence saying more than words ever could. Monica stood behind him, for once in her life, completely speechless. Her eyes were red and swollen, her face a mask of guilt. Daniel whispered, "Please, Mom, please come home." I finally found my voice, quiet but firm. "Home? You were planning to send me to a nursing home." At that, Monica burst into tears, true gut-wrenching sobs. "Auntie Pearl," she cried, "I was wrong. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how much you do, how much you matter to us." For the first time in years, she looked sincere. The arrogance was gone, replaced by a raw, desperate shame. I didn't return with them that day. I stayed at the shelter for 2 more days. I needed them to feel my absence, to truly understand the space I occupied in their home and in their lives. I needed them to see the chores that went undone, the silence that felt too loud, the void that only I could fill. When I finally went back, the house was different. It was spotless. A warm, home-cooked meal was waiting on the table, my favorite. And as I walked in, Monica wrapped me in a tight hug. It wasn't a hug of duty or obligation. It was a hug of genuine relief and realization. She whispered in my ear, "I promise, I will never, ever treat you like that again." And I looked at her, and at my son standing beside her, and I replied, "I don't need perfection. I just need respect." Now, my home feels different. It's kinder, it's softer, it's more appreciative. The small things are noticed. A thank you for helping with the laundry. A "how was your day, Mom?" in the evening. It's not a fairy tale ending, but it's real. Sometimes people don't value what they have until they are faced with the fear of losing it. And sometimes your absence can teach them what your presence never could. Thank you for listening to my story. Please subscribe for more content like this.